So week 14 of the NFL season wraps tonight. You got the Cardinals and the Patriots. Mac Jones on my TV screen for 3 hours. You know what? We got the Heat in action tonight, so that's good. The Heat starting at 7. They'll get big TV status, of course. Small TV will be Monday Night Football. We'll probably get my stories, Monday Night Raw, look-see. But at least I don't have to have the Patriots and Mac Jones on the big TV. Small victory. That's a small victory. All right, speaking of which, Week 14 wraps tonight, of course, with Monday Night Football. Let's get to our Week 14 NFL rundown. That's right. We got to recap all the action that took place. And every Monday, our week, whatever it is, NFL rundown is always brought to us by Brunt Insurance. If you're a homeowner, you gotta have insurance to make sure you're protected. But where do you go? You don't know. You don't know anyone. Well, you know me, and I know Greg Brunt. BruntInsurance.com, at Brunt Insurance on social media, 954-589-2204. From Pensacola to the Keys and beyond, Brunt Insurance and Financial Services delivers comprehensive insurance and financial solutions tailored directly to your needs. Since 2013, Brunt Insurance specialized in home, auto, life insurance. At Brunt Insurance on social media, bruntinsurance.com. And look, like I told you, you gotta have homeowners insurance. The market's really confusing. Let Brunt sort it all out for you with his fully licensed staff. They know this area. I've been using Brunt Insurance for about 10 years now. They protect my home, so I don't have to worry about anything, all right? Let them take care of this for you. You gotta be covered. And hey, if you're looking for affordable care that offers the best coverage for your car, your motorcycle, maybe your boat, Brunt Insurance, that's where you want to go. Their team has the expertise and experience to find the right coverage for you, including comprehensive policies for both trailers and motorhomes. So Brunt Insurance, that's where you want to go to make sure that you are protected so you don't have to worry. Let them worry about it. And they're not going to worry because they know exactly what they're doing. BruntInsurance.com, 954-589-2204. Let's get at it here. Week 14, NFL rundown. We start with the Bills and the Jets. The Bills beat the Jets 20-12 yesterday, a defensive battle for the most part. Game was 0-0 until late in the first half. The Bills were led by Josh Allen, 16-27, 147 yards and a touchdown. He had 47 yards rushing and a touchdown on the ground as well. Mike White. I think Mike White's the Jets quarterback. I mean, he got his ass kicked yesterday, but he was tough. 27 for 44, 268 yards. I don't think Zach Wilson's the quarterback. I think Mike White is. The Bills improved to 10-3. They are still first place in the AFC. The Jets are 7-6. And now, as a result of the Chargers' win last night, they are on the outside looking in the playoff picture. The Bengals, they're looking like the AFC champion. They beat the Browns 23-10. The Bengals are now 9-4. They're fifth in the AFC still. The Browns dropped to 5-8. Joe Burrow, 18-33, 239 yards, a touchdown and interception. Jamar Chase had 10 catches for 119 yards and a touchdown. Deshaun Watson was 26-42, 276 yards, a touchdown, and an interception. Cowboys beat the Texans 27-23. The Texans were up double figures for a good portion of this game. The Cowboys with a late touchdown from Ezekiel Elliott. They win it. They are now 10-3. The Texans, they are 1-11-1. That's a bad season. Prescott, 24 for 39, 284 yards, a touchdown, and 2 interceptions. The Cowboys have the first wild card spot right now. They are fifth in the NFC at 10-3. Right now, all 4 NFC East teams will qualify for the postseason. The Lions. Everyone thought this was weird that the Lions were a favorite against the then 10-2 Vikings. Vegas knows. Vegas knows. The Lions have won 5 of their last 6. They're now 6-7 with a 34-23 win over the Vikings, who dropped to 10-3. Jared Goff, 27 for 39, 330 yards, 3 touchdowns. In a losing effort, Justin Jefferson set a Vikings record with 11 catches for a high 223 yards. The Vikings dropped to 10-3. They're still second in the NFC. And the Lions are still 2 back in the loss column of the playoff picture. But Dan Campbell, I've been calling him a caveman meatball for the last 2 years. Got to give him a little bit of credit there. How about the Lions? The Jaguars. This was maybe the shocker of the day yesterday. The Jaguars, a 36-22 win at the Titans. They look like they're falling apart. The Jaguars are now 5-8. The Titans dropped to 7-6. They are 4th and barely hanging on in the AFC. Trevor Lawrence, 30 for 42, 368 yards and 3 touchdowns. Evan Ingram, 11 catches for 162 and 2 touchdowns. Derrick Henry had 17 carries for 121 yards and a touchdown. The Eagles improved to 12-1 with a 48-22 win over the Giants. The Giants are now 7-5-1. They are holding on to that final playoff spot in the NFC. Jalen Hurts, he's going to win the MVP. He never has a bad game. 21 for 31, 217 yards, 2 touchdowns, 77 yards rushing, and a touchdown there as well. A.J. Brown had 4 catches for 70 yards and a touchdown. The Ravens, they stink now. No Lamar Jackson. The Ravens win 16-14 over the Steelers. They are 9-4. They are still 3rd in the AFC. The Steelers dropped to 5-8. So now, in order for Mike Tomlin's, Mike Tomlin has never finished a season under 500. They would have to win their final 4 games now for that to hold up. The Steelers are now 5-8. Yeah, J.K. Dobbins rushed 15 times for 120 yards and a touchdown. Mitchell Trubisky replaced Kenny Pickett. He was 22 for 30, 276, a touchdown, and 3 interceptions. The Chiefs, they hang on with a 34-28 win over the Broncos. The Chiefs are 2nd in the AFC at 10-3. The Broncos, 3-10. Probably the most disappointing team in the NFL. Patrick Mahomes, 28 for 42, 352 yards, 3 touchdowns, and 3 interceptions. How about Jerick McKinnon? 7 catches for 112 yards and 2 touchdowns. Jerry Jeudy bumped an official late in that game. He's probably going to be suspended. He had 8 catches for 73 yards and 3 touchdowns. The 49ers, a 35-7 thrashing of Tom Brady and the Buccaneers. The Niners are 9-4. They're now all the way up to 3rd in the NFC and knocking on the door of number 2 Minnesota. The Bucs, they dropped to 6-7. They still lead the division. They're 4th in the NFC because they lead that putrid NFC South, which is up for grabs, by the way. Right now, they would host a playoff game, believe it or not. But the big story there was not Tom Brady, who was 34 for 55 for 253 yards, a touchdown, and 2 interceptions. You know, a wise man once said you can't fix old. I don't know. But the story was Brock Purdy. 16-21 his first ever start, which is kind of not fair to say it's his first ever start. He came in on the 2nd series against the Dolphins, but nonetheless. Brock Purdy, 16-21, 185 yards, 2 touchdowns, and he also had a touchdown on the ground. And finally, the Panthers. After all of this, the Panthers are just a game back of the NFC South lead, a 30-24 win over the Seahawks. The Panthers are now 5-8. The Seahawks, a very damaging loss, dropped to 7-6 and currently out of the playoff picture. Sam Darnold was 14-24 for 120 yards. Geno Smith, 21 for 36, 264 yards, 3 touchdowns, and 2 interceptions. And that right there is our Week 14 NFL rundown. And of course, it is brought to us, as always, by Brunt Insurance. Make sure you let Greg Brunt and his team at Brunt Insurance, they'll search the market for you. They're going to get you the home insurance, the life insurance, the car insurance. They're going to make sure that you're covered. They're fully licensed. They have all the experience. You got to be insured. You got to be taken care of. BruntInsurance.com, 954-589-2204. All right. So, I had a good weekend. I told you guys that. Not when it came to our pro sports teams, but my son and his soccer team. Just a tremendous weekend. Really good for the ZASLOW family. Let's get this week started off on a better note. The Heat tonight? Come on, man. Come on. All right. You know what time it is, though. Let's get to big deal or not a big deal. All right. First up, I don't know if you saw this story. Ric Flair. Everybody knows Ric Flair, 16-time world champion. He and John Cena have the record. Ric Flair was at a bar at a restaurant. He's minding his own business. I think he was sitting by himself. Well, I mean, there were people around, but he was sitting at the bar. It was at a nice-looking restaurant. And you got these young people. I don't know. They look like they're in their 20s, and they're on their phone because that's what young people do. And the young girl says, I don't know who that guy Ric Flair is, but I guess he's famous. My boyfriend tells me I should go up and I should take a picture with him. All right. She goes, and they're filming this. She goes up to him, and she literally says, hi, Ric Flair. He turns around. He's sitting down, on the bar stool or whatever. Turns around, and she goes, hi, Ric Flair. I don't know who you are, but my friend said you're famous. Can I take a picture with you? He goes, no, you may not. And he turned back around. And, she slinked away, of course, laughing, whatever. This is not a big deal. Ric Flair was 100% in the right here. How rude are you? You go up to somebody, you have no idea who they are. You say, I don't know you, but can I take a picture with you because you're famous? And Ric Flair he said it very, polite. No, you may not. And he turned back around. That's embarrassing for Ric Flair. Someone to come up to you and say, I don't know who you are, but you're famous. Can I take a picture with you? Get the hell out of here. This girl should be ashamed. The parents of this girl should be ashamed. This is not a big deal. Good on Ric Flair. Big deal or not a big deal? So Tyreek Hill yesterday, he picks up the fumble and runs it in like 58 yards or something for a touchdown. Now I got Tyreek Hill on my fantasy team. I'm like, okay, cool. That's a monster play right there. That's going to get me about 12 points. The yards, the touchdown. At least as of right now, there are always stat adjustments in fantasy, but at least as of right now, the yards are not counting. They're only giving him a fumble recovery touchdown, but he doesn't get the yards. Why don't you get the yards there? This is a big deal. Now, it's not going to cost me my fantasy football game, but some people probably will. Why don't you get the yards? Those yards happened. Who do they get credit to? The team? He should get the yards. So that's a big deal. I wonder if there's going to be a stat correction there. Big deal or not a big deal? UFC 282 over the weekend. Now, I didn't watch this card, but I am aware of what happened because Paddy Pimblett, Paddy the Baddy, he's a barstool guy. He's like bootleg Conor McGregor. He's British. And he's very popular because he's a big-time trash talker and he's fun. He won his fight by unanimous decision, 29-28, 29-28, 29-28. But apparently it was a bogus decision. I looked at the stats too. I didn't see the fight. He did not win based on the stats. I know stats aren't everything. You got to watch the fight. Damage, that kind of deal. You can't tell that with the stats. But it seemed to be a very surprising decision and maybe biased, of course, because Paddy Pimblett is like a rising star. Here's the decision and Paddy Pimblett post-fight in the octagon with Joe Rogan.
Ladies and gentlemen, after 3 rounds, we go to the judges' scorecards for decision. All 3 judges score this contest 29-28 for the winner by unanimous decision, Paddy Pimblett.
Paddy, that was a close one.
No, it wasn't. That wasn't close. He just consoled me in the fair. But know what, Joe? Have you consulted me manager and see how much you're paying me for this interview?
You don't think it was a close fight at all?
Not at all. I won the first 2 rounds and then coasted in the third. I knew I was 2 rounds up, so I didn't want to do nothing dangerous and risk losing the fight. I knew for a fact I'd won the first 2 rounds pretty easily.
Coming into this fight, did you think that this was going to be the most difficult test of your UFC career?
Yeah. Jared's one tough. Know what I mean? He is one tough man. The trials and tribulations he's had in his life, and he's come back. Hats off to Jared. Something I want to do with Jared now is I've started my own foundation. I want to help some of the charities where he works with my foundation. I want to work together. Now we fought in here. I want to work together outside the cage.
That's a beautiful gesture. Now, you've had a meteoric rise in your UFC career, and here you are in a pay-per-view. Give us your thoughts on what you would like to see next in the octagon.
We'll see. I'm not going to lie. I've hurt me right foot in that first round there. One of the first kicks I threw, me right foot's in a bit of pain. I'm gonna have to get that x-ray, get that looked at, but what do you think, people? Fight of the night or what? Hey! Fight of the night! Who's a hype train? Who's a hype train? Someone say something!
Well, congratulations to you, sir, and I can't wait to see you back in the octagon again. Patty the Batty, ladies and gentlemen.
All right, so there you go. So you had Paddy Pimblett, who ended up winning, but controversial. Most people did not think he was the winner. I'm going not a big deal. You know, I know a lot of people think that, oh, maybe they handed him the fight because he's getting super popular and all that. You know what? Even if that is the case, I still don't even know the name of the other guy. I know who Paddy Pimblett is, so I'm glad he won. I don't think he has lost yet in the UFC. So I'm going not a big deal. Paddy Pimblett wins via unanimous decision. Big deal or not a big deal? Brock Purdy's father in the crowd there in San Francisco. The cameras caught him very emotional, crying because his son, in his first ever start, technically his first ever start, kicks the crap out of Tom Brady and the Bucs. Such a good son. That's a big deal right there. I love those kind of moments. I love seeing that. So good for Brock Purdy and his family there. That's a big deal. Finally, I got one more for you here. So this was a big story in the NBA over the weekend. Friday night, by the way, Friday and Sunday, or Friday and Saturday, there was a back-to-back, a home and home, Pelicans and the Suns. You know the Pelicans are first place in the Western Conference. That's right. The New Orleans Pelicans and Zion Williamson. Brandon Ingram's been out. The New Orleans Pelicans are first place. Zion is awesome. Should be an MVP candidate. The Pelicans are first place in the Western Conference. They just beat the Suns twice over the weekend. They are 18-8. On Friday night's game, at the end of the game, the Suns, now it's like a 12-point game, game's over. The Suns, Chris Paul drives, game's in New Orleans. Chris Paul drives, tries to go for a layup, he misses. Pelicans get the rebound, Suns are done, there's seconds remaining. They toss it to the other side of the court where Zion is just standing. And Zion, a 360 windmill dunk. The crowd goes crazy. The horn sounds, game's over. And then you got the Suns players, because Chris Paul, and he's like, Mr. Play the game the right way. The Suns players, they're angry. There's some pushing. There's some shoving. There's a whole commotion. Give Zion a listen post-game.
That was a little out of character for me, but you got to understand. I mean, you can understand it or not. They sent my teammates home last year. I missed all last year. I got carried away a little bit. I admit that. But, you know, I was in that locker room when my brothers were down because, you know, the Suns sent us home last year. That's a tough moment to be a part of. So, in that moment, I got carried away. I admit that. That was out of character for me. So, you know, if they was to do the same thing, I wouldn't have no problem with it.
All right, so there's a lot to absorb here. The first thing I'll say is that's a leader right there. That's a pretty perfect response by Zion Williamson, and that's a leader right there. First of all, it's a great response because he told you, hey, I get what they were mad about. A little bit out of character for me, but as a leader, I saw my guys hurting in the locker room after the Suns beat us last year. So there's a sending a message part of it where it's, hey, we're not the same team. And by the way, I'm playing now. So there's a sending a message kind of part to the Phoenix Suns, but also my guys were hurt. And those are the only guys that I care about. I don't care about Chris Paul and his play the game the right way garbage. Nah, I saw what they did to my guys last year, so it was a little bit out of character for me, but I had a little something for him right there. It's a perfect response from Zion Williamson. That's a leader. But the part where I really have no problem with what he did there. First of all, yes, of course, there's the whole professional. They're pros. What do you mean run up the score? It's pros. Here's the part that I really have no problem with it. Zion didn't get the ball there. And with a second remaining, lays it in, pads his stats, piles on the score. Hey, I want 2 more points. I want an extra field goal made to help my percentage. That's not what he did. First of all, the game was in New Orleans. It's in front of his home crowd. And second, he did a 360 windmill dunk. which the crowd then goes crazy. That's the important part. He didn't just do a layup. He did a 360 windmill. Why? Because it wasn't about padding stats. It wasn't about beating the other team by more points. It was about, I'm going to do something really awesome here that I never get a chance to do in the game because it's crazy, 360 windmill. I'm going to do something really awesome at the end of a big game that we just won, and we're first place in the Western Conference, and I'm going to give my fans their money's worth. I'm going to make them go crazy because this is the entertainment business. Because these people pay a lot of money to come and watch us, to come and watch me pay. People pay money to see Zion. I'm going to give these people their money's worth. He didn't just go and lay it in. He did a 360 windmill slam. And in a league where the NBA player loves two things more than anything else, to complain and to not play, the Suns are mad that that guy over there did something, which was meaningless, but did something that made his paying customers excited and happy in a league where the NBA player loves to not play? And you got the nerve to be mad at what Zion did there? Get the hell out of here, Phoenix Suns. Get the hell out of here. Get the hell out of here. That's a disgrace. The Suns being angry about that. Should be embarrassed. These players in the NBA, they never play. And Zion decides, I'm going to do a 360 windmill for the crowd to make them happy. And you're upset about that? Shut up. Shut up, Phoenix Suns. Shut up, Chris Paul. And that right there, that's a big deal. And that right there is another edition of Big Deal or Not a Big Deal. That's what I'm talking about right there. Tell you what else I'm talking about. Hey, by the way, we're going to have Jeremy Piven on the show tomorrow. I don't usually preview guests like that, but Jeremy Piven's at the Improv this weekend. Ari Gold, Entourage. I'm excited to talk to him, all right? Jeremy Piven's going to join the show tomorrow. That's going to be a lot of fun, so you're not going to want to miss that. And hey, you know all of our guests here on ZASLOW Show 2.0 are always brought to us by Johnny Cuba. They're on the Johnny Cuba guest line. You saw me wear my Johnny Cuba hat the other day. Johnny Cuba, they got another hat for me coming in this week. Juan sent me a picture. I'm excited to get that on. I'm going to show you guys. We're going to put it right on top of this head here, and you're going to want to get yourself a Johnny Cuba hat as well. But what you need to do right now is start your afternoon off with a Johnny. That's right. European roots, Caribbean soul. Start your afternoon, maybe early evening with a refreshing German lager in a can. 6-pack of Johnny Cuba available right now at your Sedano's, your Presidente, your Winn-Dixie. You got holiday specials all throughout the month into the new year. Pick up a 6-pack of Johnny Cuba. Have yourself a night. Johnny Cuba's mantra, don't forget, stay tranquilo. All right. I'm feeling a little bit better getting all this out of my system. I'm so upset about the Dolphins. I'm so upset about the Heat. I'm so upset about the Panthers. Can the Heat go 4-0 on this road trip? It's going to be the only way back to 500. It is. It's the only way back. They've dug too big of a hole. Got to win all 4 of these games. Not saying they're going to, but if you want to get back to 500, you got to win all 4 of these games. You got to do it. You got to do it. And poll question for today. Go ahead and vote at ZASLOW Show. Go vote in today's poll question, all right? ZASLOW Show 2.0 poll. Who are you most confident in recovering from this weekend? Heat, Panthers, or Dolphins? Right now, 58% of the vote is the Dolphins. So go vote. Hey, however you're listening to the podcast, or if you're watching on the YouTube channel, youtube.com/@ZASLOW Show, make sure you like, you rate, you comment, tell your friends, tell your mother I say hello. I appreciate everyone, all right? We will talk to you tomorrow on ZASLOW Show 2.0. Know what that means.